Hello, good fellas and fillettes. Good to see you. I am Jaffe. Welcome to the show. Jojo D says, all I have on my screen right now is a still image. Well, that may be Jojo D because you have a little bit of a, well, one moment. Let's get started, shall we? That may be because you have a bit of a disease, a brain issue. I forget what it's called. I was looking this up this weekend. Let me tangent for a moment. This is relevant. So I'm looking this up this weekend because you know how the things that we see, we're actually seeing life about 0.08 seconds behind, because we take in light from the world that we are able to perceive. It goes into the eye, it gets processed, and then it builds an image of it in our brain, right? So we have we're living our lives between 0.05 and 0.08 seconds behind. But obviously, since we're all roughly in that realm, we work together and we adjust things, and our brain adjusts to deal with the real world and all that stuff. So anyway, point being is I was looking into this going, okay, well, have there ever been anybody with brain issues where that 0.08 gets cut down so they can see life closer or farther? And it says, well, no, you can't do that. You can't make it faster, but you can have brain issues where you make it slower. And the absolute worst case of this is where these are very rare, but this exists, where you can have a stroke and it can be really bad to the point that it totally messes up that part of the brain that processes that. And so your life becomes a slideshow. I shit you not. So they gave an example of like a woman who would be pouring orange juice into a glass, and you would see it. She would start to pour, the liquid's flowing. It splashes at the bottom of the glass. And then that's all she sees. And it sticks there. Like Jojo D was saying, it sticks there for, I don't know, depends on the brain damage, but 10 seconds, 5 seconds. And then it jump cuts to the next version of 15 seconds ahead, right? So think about that. So your life is not only a slideshow, but it's a slideshow with, like, depending on your brain damage, anywhere from 5 to 15 second gaps between the slides. And obviously at that point, you probably just put on a blindfold and live life as a blind person, because you can't function that way. It says a lot of people with this malady will, like pouring liquids, will have to start using audio to go, okay, I know what it sounds like when the cup is almost full. The point is, boys, ladies, men, children, hopefully there's no children here. That's what it's like to have ADD, because Jojo D mentioned that he was looking at a still image, and that's where my mind went. Welcome. Hey, we got Hoag's Law in the good old Hoag's Law. Hoag, you're the one that turned me on to men. I'm gay now for Hoag's Law. You're the one who turned me on to Esoteric Ebb, because I know it's going to hit the stream. I did a sponsored stream the other day, and that's why I didn't take it off. But you're the first person I saw tweeting about it. And so I went and looked it up, and I ended up getting paid to play it the other day. It's really good. Really, really, really good, man. Very much appreciated it. They were doing tests in therapy, says Hoag, like the old animated carousel to check animation. I don't understand what kind of test in therapy would need to check animation. In terms of, you mean how people perceive persistence of vision and things like that. Hello, Simple Cloud. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Did Iran find us? The fuck is that? I don't know what to tell you. Hey, man, thank you for the super chat. First super chat of the day. We got Marcus come on, man. We got Marcus Van Allen. Thank you so much, Marcus. We sure do appreciate that. Yeah, it's totally a drone attack. Oh, well, it's been fun, boys. Anyway, welcome to the show. Welcome to GOW. I don't know what that is. I don't think we have people on the roof today, but you never fucking know. But hopefully it won't last too long. Thank you. Yeah, welcome to the show. We got some game stuff to go over. We got some weird news stuff to go over. But before we get to, I'm going to take these off. I don't need them really right now. And that's, Awesome Tatum says, speaking of cool indie titles, Starship Troopers Ultimate Bug War out today. I played the demo of that. I did not enjoy it all that much, truth be told. I thought it was fine, but it seemed a little bit too overly simplistic. So yeah, not for me. Yeah, Awesome Tatum, you're dodging. Yeah, I hear there's bad tornadoes going on, man. I almost bought a Tornado Chaser game this weekend because I've just been thinking about it lately and thinking how much fun that would be to play a game version of it. But I absolutely, yeah, man, I've heard that you guys are facing some storms. I was watching Colin's live stream a little earlier today, and they were saying that he may have to hop off the stream at any moment because they're under a tornado watch, which I think is, it's not the one where the tornado has touched down. I always got those mixed up. I grew up in tornado lands of Alabama, and I would always get confused. But there is a chance of tornadoes forming where he is. So yeah, be safe, be careful, get to the shelters, all that good stuff. So Jojo D says a good interview would be, he's not giving me a name though. Okay. Okay. But anyway, we're going to go over game stuff, other stuff. I want to tell you that we'll get to the God of War rumors, but I'm not going to spoil the God of War rumors because they are pretty spoily if they end up being true. So I just want to kind of talk about them at a high level. Hello, Courage. Where are you going, buddy? Where's the dog? Come here, baby. What are you doing, man? I don't know what these dogs are doing. I don't understand Storm Chaser, says TJM. What's there to document inside the storm you can't get from outside it? I don't know. I just watch the movies and they're like, hey, we can get data that can prevent tornadoes. I don't know. I just think they're cool looking, man. I think they're fucking cool looking. Yeah, Hogue says, I always thought warning and watch were reversed in terms of like, it sounded like a watch should be, we need to be worried that this could happen, and a warning would be shit, it's here. It's been a long time since I was in a tornado place during tornado season, but that shit as a kid scared the shit out of me, no doubt. I'll tell you something else that scared the shit out of me. I'll talk about it wasn't really a mental, it was a mental crack up, or it could have gone there. I want to tell you what happened this weekend. So this is pretty interesting to me, obviously. So I watched Sinners the other day, like Saturday or whatever, before the Oscars. And let me see if I can bring up the screen here. Here we go. I'll bring that up in a second. But I'm watching this movie, Sinners. I had not seen it yet, and I absolutely loved it. And I couldn't really stop thinking about it. I was, I remember laying down to go to bed Saturday, and I was like, this is, there's a lot more here than meets the eye. And I started thinking about the metaphors and what it meant, blah, blah, blah. So I wake up the next day and I go to the New York Times because they had a piece about literally the symbolism in the movie. And so great. That was an interesting, I don't want to talk about Sinners too much. You've seen it, you haven't, but it's great fucking movie. Anyway, but what I realized for the first time, I used this little thing over here called Ask Gemini that you guys may not be able to see. It's a tab at the top with all the bookmarks, and it brings up the Gemini AI. But what it does is that particular Gemini AI brain is totally in sync with the article that you're reading. So it was the first time that I was able to, it felt like I was in Star Trek. It felt like I was having again, you got to be careful with AI. It's not always right by any means, but it felt like I was back in English class in college, discussing the nuance and the metaphors of this movie. And that's not why that was the start of the crack up, but I want to at least set that up for you and tell you then something else happened after that. But Silver Sky said, I didn't like Sinners, or maybe I liked it, but it felt overhyped to me. I thought it was brilliant. I really, really did. It was just, I loved it. In fact, I'm going to watch it again this week because I was telling my ex about it last night, and she's like, "Oh, okay, I'm into that," and so we're going to watch it. But it was excellent. PK says Timothée Chalamet last night got robbed of an Oscar for telling the truth about ballet. Well, that's not true. We know that's not true because the nominations and the votes came in well before he said that, and nobody would give a shit about that. I think this guy who won it last night, Michael B. Jordan, got it because he was great, and he also played twins, and very compellingly so in the movie. So it was. I didn't have a problem with who won. I did want to say the hype was equating it to Blade level of awesome, says Silver Sky. If you went into this movie and you thought you were getting a horror vampire movie and that was the main reason it existed, then I understand why you would be disappointed. This was not that. I don't think it was overhyped, but it wasn't like the movie Martyrs, or it wasn't like Talk to Me or Bring Her Back or Hereditary. It wasn't like the hype was about the, oh my God, or even Get Out. This was a horror masterpiece. That's not why it's amazing, in my opinion. And I don't think it was nominated and probably was the second place winner of the Best Picture last night. I wish they'd published that because of that, because it was a horror film. But I thought it was fantastic. Jaffe says, Sean Mooney, how are you, buddy? Thank you for the very generous super chat. I really enjoy your channel recently. As a former AAA game dev who's leaving the biz to make my own indie game, it's inspiring stuff. Would love for you to check out our game sometime. Absolutely. Tell me what it's called. I'll put it in the Steam wish list. But congrats and good luck, man. I get it. I was done with that fucking place. AAA game development. Whoo, Lord have mercy. No, thank you. Thank you for that, buddy. Jojo D, thank you for the super chat. Says, will you play Crimson Tide? It's not Crimson Tide. That's a very different game. I think you can play that on NCAA football. You mean Crimson Desert? Isn't it called Crimson Desert? Will you play it? Will you stream it? Will you compare it with the best of all? I will get it. I will play it. I'm very excited for it. I will be playing it on GeForce Now, which means I can turn up the bells and whistles to every and anything in the goddamn, till they break. And I'm very excited for it, and I will be streaming it. I don't know if I'll stream it day one because I want to kind of get into it and get lost in it a little bit, but I will absolutely be streaming it. And thank you for that, Jojo D. Mario says, this is my first time here. Welcome, champion. Good to see you, man. Okay. There was a joke last night. This was not a joke at the Oscars, but somebody woke up this morning and posted it, and I just thought it was hilarious. It was pretty good. It's Conan would have stepped on stage, he said, well, this is my first ever Oscars as a host, and I got to say it's a bit uncomfortable. Almost as uncomfortable as that Christmas party I hosted a few months ago, which if you know, you know. But that he basically hosted the Christmas party where Rob Reiner's son lost his shit and was asked to leave, and then 2 hours later he had murdered Rob Reiner and his wife. So I mean, it's tasteless. And this was not actually a joke at the Oscars. And then it was so funny though, because people were kind of like going, he didn't say this, and it wasn't his first ever Oscar and all this shit. And the guy's like, dude, it's a joke. He's like, I know. People are just so goddamn literal, and it's just like he's clearly joking. But what are you gonna do? But I didn't watch all the Oscars. I watched a little bit. But so I do this thing. Yeah, I saw that Keeley got blocked. Keeley's dad died this year, and he was a huge mover and shaker in the IMAX business and technology. And honestly, if it wasn't for him, it's probably a realistic statement that there's a good chance that IMAX would not be what it is today in a positive way. Meaning, if it wasn't for Keeley's dad, we wouldn't have IMAX as we know it today, which is a good thing today. IMAX is a good thing. Guys, shut up. You know what I'm saying. Yay, Keeley's dad. Okay. And Keeley was a little miffed. He said, I'm heartbroken, blah, blah, blah. And I guess he tweeted that to the president, the Academy president. And I guess he got blocked by him. And I'm just kind of like, yesterday I also tweeted to the Academy, not that they give a shit. And I was just like, you guys really, it's so funny. I was like, you guys really should hire Keeley. work with Keeley, because I'm watching the Oscars on and off, and it just seems so antiquated, and it just seems so, just creaky and old. And I'm going, if they would have said last night, just like Keeley does on his show, we're going to unveil, we're going to show you the first Avengers Doomsday trailer. We're going to show you Spielberg's new trailer. 15 brand new movie trailers that people are excited for. And on top of it, we've got like 10 announcements of brand new movies that are coming that hasn't been revealed yet. Like, oh my God, Tom Cruise is making, another fucking Top Gun movie or whatever. I think that could be really cool. And so it's funny that the president of the Oscars blocked Keeley on the very day that I'm like, hey, you guys should basically work with Keeley because the Oscars are going to YouTube in 2029. And so there is a chance to really make some changes to it and make it more relevant. I hope they do something like that, because hell, I would watch the shit out of it, man. If somebody told me, yeah, you get the awards, but I'm also getting all these brand new fucking trailers, hell, you goddamn right I'd watch that. Torino Johnson of the Cincinnati Johnsons, good family, says, I'm a member of the Directors Guild, and you were right about the voters going in before Chalamet's statements. Votes went in at the beginning of the year. I did not know, by the way, that Christopher Nolan was the president of the Directors Guild. I understand that Sean Astin, a.k.a. Frodo, a.k.a. not Frodo, Samwise, a.k.a. Encino Man, a.k.a. a lot of stuff, is the president of SAG, but I kind of figured, well, that's just because, he's not working all that much. He's got time. But the idea that Christopher Nolan has time to be the president of the Directors Guild and going out making his movies, that's crazy. Okay. Yeah, I did see that, Darth Nugget. They cut off the K-pop Demon Hunters giving the best song speech. I don't think it was done intentionally. I really don't think it was done like, fuck them, we don't like Koreans, fuck kimchi and all that. I think it was just live TV, and maybe the director got a signal and thought, oh, that's my cue to go over to Conan because he scratched his ear. I don't fucking know. But I didn't get the sense that was intentional. Richard Joseph says, what's the origin of the Cincinnati good family thing? There's no origin. There's just a lot of good families in Cincinnati. So yeah, I have avoided the disclosure trailer. I mean, I saw the new one for about 30 seconds and there was another minute and a half to go. And I said, no, I can't. I'm there day one. I don't want to have anything spoiled. Does Hollywood still hold relevance? Gaming Survivor says not the way it used to. No, not at all. Super Lost Sanity, good to see you again this morning. You're about to hear a story you heard over at Lolcow Crypt, because now I have visual aids because I couldn't give it when Tech was running OBS this morning over in Fat Camp, but I'm going to give it now. I don't agree with that, Left Control Gaming. Video games are better than today's movies. I totally don't agree. I think it depends, a video game that's made to be a video game does a totally different thing. But do I think the storytelling in a movie like Sinners, which I just adored, isn't as good as the storytelling in video games? No. I think most video game stories are fine. Some are better than others, but oh, come on. And that's not to say video games aren't great. I love video games, but if you really want to tell a story, then the medium, go with the narrative-based medium, unless you are making a systems-based game, and those systems are in and of themselves part of the narrative and part of the metaphor. And we will actually get into that. There's some game design philosophy shit going on. Well, yeah, Super Lost Sandy says, I won't call you boring this time. It may be just as boring as it was, because I almost lost my goddamn mind. It was scary stuff. It was scary stuff. So listen, here's what happened. So I do this thing with Sinners, with the symbolism of Sinners. I'm talking to the, and here, let me give you an example. Let me move my little beautiful face up here for a moment. So you can go in and say, what do you think the character Cornbread symbolize? This is a terrible question. There's nothing interesting about it, but this is the kind of thing you can do, right? Oh, hey, connect. Yeah, connect. I've already been connected, you fuck. Hang on. So now it's reading this. It'll go out to other things. And it goes, you get into a big fucking, the burden of good behavior and politeness. Cornbread is initially defined by his extreme politeness and commitment to social decorum, even in the face of blatant disrespect, which might be what gets him killed. So anyway, you get the idea. So I'm doing this, I'm having this experience, and then I move on to other things in my day. Fine. So then I go to this story, which I don't know if you've seen. A petri dish of human brain cells has learned to play the video game Doom. I will just show you a little bit of this. I'm not going to show you the whole video. It's only 6 minutes, but it's not really relevant to what I want to talk about. I watched this whole thing. I dived deep into this shit because it blew my fucking mind. Which is basically there's this company that has used human brain cells. My understanding is they got them from skin cells, and they've used stem cells to turn them into basically brain cells, whatever. I'm not smart enough to understand the specifics, but they are brain cells now. They live in this little dish. They put this little dish on a microchip. You'll see it in a second. It's kind of crazy, right? So, and then they have these computers called the CL1, and these computers are their CPU are brain cells on a chip. Okay. Here's the guy that's kind of one of the guys that's leading it. Sorry about the volume. I've muted it, so hopefully it's not bothering you anymore. So it's not at the moment playing Doom brilliantly, but these are brain cells playing Doom. Okay. And I really dove deep into this because I was like, wait, I don't really it started playing Pong. I don't understand this. And I started to understand, which is basically you've got these chips and these little things of light here. That is the chaos, right? That the apparently the cells want to avoid the chaos. I'm not going to bore you with all the science because I'm not trying to teach anything. I don't know anything about it. Let's just say they figured out a way to basically have the brain's version of on and off like in a processor or a transistor. So instead of on or off, though, this is chaos and discomfort, and the cell, for whatever reason, wants to move towards not chaos and more less effort to exist, right? That's their logic, right? It's not AI. Well, it is. I don't know if it's AI, right? We'll get to that. So anyway, they've put together this. You've got the computers, blah, blah, blah. And I start going, these things behind this guy are the individual, I think it's 80,000 or 80 million individual cells. And the human brain, I think they said it's like, for neurons, it's something like 86 billion, right? So we're not yet at a level where, we can do that. And they're also talking about now they're doing something where they have these things called organoids, because the cells on these chips, I want her to show you the chip. This is what I'm trying to get to. Let me see if I can
chip
play
that is currently inside the CL1.
Sorry.
Can you show us the chip?
The chip is, I can show you the chip.
Okay, so here's the chip.
Now it's time to figure out how do we further enhance the learning.
So these individual cells, they're growing a real Doom guy. What I'm trying to get my head around here is, if you're doing it 2D, they will reach out to other connections, which make them compute better up, down, left, and right. When you're doing these things called organoids, it's 3D. So now they can go forward, back, left, right, and they have three-dimensional space up and down. So it's faster, it's smarter, and all of that, right? And so I'm looking at this and I'm doing research into this, and I'm just like, okay, they're obviously saying, well, this stuff isn't conscious as far as they know. And the more and more that these people work on this stuff, because right now, all of these different computers, this one will solve a problem and it will send its data to this one, but they're not linked up. And the reason they can't be linked up is because they don't have the tech yet to keep them alive long enough to have 86 billion of these things on a single thing, but they're getting there. Every couple of minutes, they have to wash it with this pink fluid. I'm not fucking with you, called media. And it washes it and keeps it alive. And so if you want to have a human level of this, you've got to create an artificial heart that pumps blood or media into this. But they're doing that now. Their recent breakthrough is they've come up with the ability to create blood supply to these chips where they don't have to have an artificial flushing. So it could very well be we're moving to this road, right? But they're saying, but it's not conscious. Don't worry. You know, they're too simple to be conscious. But then it really does get into the question, of course, of, okay, we don't know what consciousness is. We don't know that if a cell is going, I don't like this discomfort, I want this. I don't like this, I want that. Is that consciousness? I don't know. But the more and more of these you link these together, we're getting to a point where this could be, what the fuck, right? Okay, so that's the second thing that leads to my mental crack up this weekend. Okay. So, and we're going to get back to games, but I'm then coming up on the 18th, which is 2 days away from now. So what is it, Wednesday? There is a psychedelic center opening up, and they are opening up in a place I've never heard of. It is a place called, I don't know. Oh, here we go. Caribbean island of Bequia, aimed at part in establishing sustained two-way communication with beings that you experience when you're on DMT. Okay, so this is their website. This is a real thing. So if you do, it's called DMTX. If you're into all this kind of stuff, you've come across this book. Bunny Button, I think, knows the guy who made this book, but this is a field guide to all of the different kind of entities that people have said to experience when they are on sometimes ayahuasca, but mostly DMT. And this doesn't just go back to like machine elves from, what was the guy's name? That made it real famous. But this goes back millennia. Like people have been on this shit forever and they've been doing cave paintings and there's a consistency of these creatures. And so a lot of people who do DMT are saying, we don't think this is just weird brain hallucinations. We feel that this is some sort of portal because these creatures that we're encountering are very different. They're very smart. And so this system, or not system, but this new thing that goes live this Wednesday, this retreat or this scientific study center, they do a number of things, one of which is DMTX. DMTX works this way, which is normal DMT trips last about 2 to 6 minutes. And so they have come up with a way built off the bones of anesthesia to be able to continually feed the right amount of DMT to the patient. And so you can have a trip that could last 6, 7, 8 hours. And they are now going to start sending people inward with the intention of really researching this inner realm. And is it purely psychological? Is it a warp gate into some other fucking universe? Who the fucking knows? But we're about to start finding this shit out. They're going to send mathematicians in and psychiatrists in and all different types of people. You can actually apply. It'll cost you $10,000 if you want to go. But they're doing all kinds of weird fucking tests, right? They're doing another test. They're apparently DMT, which is found in the body. The theory is that your body makes more of it in the dark, right? Which at that point makes you go, okay, well, maybe that's something to do with dreams or something like that. I don't fucking know. But they're even doing studies of being able to test how much more DMT is made in the dark and where it comes from. It's pretty fucking cool. It's pretty fucking cool shit. Okay, so here's the point. I'm lying in bed the other night, and I've just had all these experiences on the same day. The symbolism in Sinners, using a computer, AI like in Star Trek, to literally talk to the goddamn computer like it's a person, and it just fucking works. I know it's not a person, but it feels like a person. It feels like you're in Star Trek. Okay. Then followed very closely behind by diving deep into learning, holy shit, we're putting brains, in essence, on computer chips. And they're powering and making decisions totally different than the kind of computing we have now, which is just if-then statements. They're just going, look, we're trying to solve a problem in the least amount of ways possible, and we're working together with other brain cells. It's very, very interesting, very, very weird. And then you've literally got science going, hey, in a couple days, we're opening up this first fucking center where we're going to see if DMT is an actual portal to these fucking beings in this other fucking universe, multiverse, whatever, interdimensional, whatever. And I sit there and I start to realize that this is like living in a science fucking fiction movie. I said, this is no longer, like, this is the kind of stuff I thought was going to happen when I was a kid, 10, 11, 12, 13, getting into sci-fi and shit like that. And I'm sitting there going, no, this shit's happening. This shit is actually occurring. And I don't even mean the fringe stuff, like, oh, the UAP stuff that no one really knows if it's a psyop or not. This is real fucking science they're doing now. And I'm going, this has to be a simulation. And I don't mean a simulation like, oh, it's simulation theory. Isn't that interesting? It is, but that's not what I mean. I mean the theory that we either are in our own personal simulation or that there are infinite universes and the people who come in and out of your simulation are a version of them, but they're different in their simulation. So your kids are real people. Your friends are real people, but they're a version of that real person that is having their own simulation where you may not be the same to them as they are to you in this simulation, which means maybe we're all alone in our own little simulation. And it also means, there's a point where people talk about UAP disclosure and how people aren't ready for it. You know, there's that famous story of Jimmy Carter when he was asking the powers that be, tell me about the aliens, because he believed in aliens. And he was depressed for like 6 days after. And when they told him in the meeting, apparently he just put his hands in his face and he cried for like 20 minutes. And then he was depressed for 6 days after, right? I'm sitting there in bed and I'm starting to get really fucking freaked out because I'm like, I don't know if my brain can fucking handle this shit. This is fucking weird. Like, and I loved it on one hand because I like having my buttons pushed, but I closed my eyes and I was able to meditate through it. And I said, okay, let me just sort of be in the isness of existence. You know, that's the best part about meditation is you can rise above the thoughts and just be with the isness of everything. And I was able to calm down and go to sleep, but it's not, see, this is what's funny about people like you, ESP. ESP says pseudoscience gobbledygook. But the thing is, it's not. I'm literally showing you the technology that exists today where they are taking brain cells and they are using them and putting them on computer chips and they work. And then they're doing actual brain organoids that aren't even flat. They have verticality to them. I'm showing you my experience with AI this weekend. That's real. This center opens on Wednesday with the DMT stuff. There's nothing gobbledygook about it. Now, whether or not it turns out that they come back and say DMTX through using DMTX, we have discovered that it is not, these creatures, these DMT entities are not real, but they are simply things that we have created in our minds. That may be true. But they're going to discover it, man. I'm sorry. If you think it's gobbledygook, you're not paying attention, baby. Hello, Natasha Johnson. Natasha Johnson. How are you, buddy? Jaffe, you see they copied a fruit fly's brain into a computer and it simulated everything like a fruit fly would do. Kind of. That's kind of sort of, yes, I did see that. It's not entirely true, but it's not entirely literally that. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see exactly where that's going. It's amazing. ESP says the computer stuff is real, but the DMT realm stuff is crap. You don't know that, man. You may be right, but why? You may be 1,000 times right, but who gives a shit? Give it a try. Let's see what happens. Let's do some tests. They've explained one of the tests. They're like, apparently these beings, some of the beings are really wise and smart. So they're like, okay, we're going to give our internauts or whatever you call these people, mathematical problems that they're not going to be able to solve without a fucking computer. And when they come back out, if they have the answer, we'll go, okay, well, that's weird. Why would this thing have knowledge that, or let's ask it about history, or let's ask it trivia or whatever. Let's ask it about information that this person wouldn't have, and let's see what they come out with. You guys are too fucking cynical, man. You guys are too fucking cynical. Zeke says they will prove idiots are willing to waste 10K. They're doing 10K to raise money. That's not the science. If you want to go and do it and you have the money and you can get on the reserve list, you can do it. But that's not where the science is happening. Although they are going to use the data, of course. But good God, man, open your mind a little bit. Something, it may be true. It may not be true, but don't you want to know? Don't you want to explore a little bit? What must your life be to be so goddamn, given that we live in a world where what you see is what you get has never been what you see is what you get. There's always something more to learn. I swear. I don't know where the cynicism comes from, but I guess it comes from capitalism. All right, here we go. Let's move on. Hang on. All right, let's talk about video games for a little bit. I want to tell you, so I saw this weekend. Well, I did see this. This isn't it, but this was pretty great. This guy just posted, if you're ever sad, just remember the world is 4.5 billion years old and you somehow managed to exist at the same time as God of War. I'll take it. I appreciate it. Maple Syrup says, I've always understood skepticism, but it's the self-righteousness inside of it or alongside that bothers me. I agree. I fucking agree. Gaming Survivor says, Jaffe doing a 9-to-5 has beaten the sense of exploration out of me. Well, that's bad, but I hear you. Yeah, ESP, I'm sorry. Your explanation doesn't hold weight with me. I've seen that so many times, and it's usually from someone that doesn't know about drugs or is scared of drugs, and they want to put on sort of a nobility cloak around, I don't need that. If you need drugs, you're a loser. He says in the chat, my life is so good, I don't need to do drugs. My life is really good too, buddy. It's not that I need to do them. This is the problem. You've been raised with the propaganda of drugs are for losers and you can't handle life, so you have to escape. It's not about escaping. It's about being an explorer of what is this experience? What does it mean? It doesn't make sense to our brains. So are there places, whether it's spiritual, whether it's drugs, whether it's space exploration, whether it's meditation, whatever, where you can try to whittle away at the big mystery? That doesn't mean your life is bad. That just means that you think about things beyond, fucking what you see in front of your face. Tyler says, Jaffe, they're simple folk. Salt on a cracker is a modern marvel to them. I could see that. Okay. Yeah, awesome. I'm with you. I do believe it could be mind created, but it could also open a portal to something. Absolutely. 1,000%. Absolutely. Uh-oh, here we go. We got Good Sir Embers in. How you doing, buddy? He says, you need to do drugs because your soul is crying out for God, but you're so captured by creature comforts and base impulses, you need to dull your senses to imitate communication with the higher power. Yeah, but that's not even accurate, is it? Because the idea of, it kind of puts you in one of those positions of saying, I, meaning you, Ember, my soul is so ready for God. That's a you problem that you're not. And what you're really saying to all these people is that, well, if you were just more open, or if you were just more this or just more that like I am, you would have my experience. And my answer to that is, well, I don't have your experience. And I haven't had your experience. And it's not because I'm not open to it. It's because I haven't gone through whatever you've gone through to make you believe in what I consider as a fairy tale, but you think is the real thing. Silver Sky says, why do you think a lot of non-believers turn to Jesus after DMT? I believe that there is access. Okay, here's what I believe in that. I believe that the more we are going to learn and know about this stuff, whether it is simulation theory, whether it is, Alexa, stop, whether it is about the DMT-X stuff or whatever, the more we learn about this stuff, the more it becomes impossible to go, our brains can't comprehend this existing by random chance. So I get why people might go, there is, because of my journeys into all this stuff, some sort of consciousness that might have given rise, whether it's a guy in a lab or whether it's Jesus or Yahweh or Muhammad, I don't know. I get why they would go to that. What I don't get is why they would say, oh, thus I will go to this one specific religion. That's never made any sense to me. Okay. You are promoting drugs, says Good Hunter. I thought you reached your lowest point, but I guess you can't go, you can go lower. I have no problem. I have no problem with drugs at all. I don't think it's a low point. I can't meet God, says Natasha. If we met, I would fight him immediately. Yeah, he sounds like an asshole. Okay. Love these convos, Mr. Jaffe, says ZZ. Me too, buddy. We are going to get into games for a little bit, but we're going to talk about lots of different stuff today. Okay. Ember says, but you just said you told people to be more open. I'm open to God. I'm open to a Jesus figure, but you give me something. Well, you have to go to him. Nah, shut up. Shut up. If God wants me, he can find me. He knows he knows everything. Okay. Okay. Let me see. If you're an individual simulation, doesn't that get rid of most of the problems atheists have with Christianity? Well, I'm not an atheist, but let me read that again. If you are in an individual simulation, doesn't that get, I don't understand. Member, says Stephen Hawkins, for 47 months. Thank you for all that support, buddy. He says, my sister died several times in October on the operating table. Her NDE was nuts. Buddhism, Stoicism, Hindu, Christianity, all in one. Nuts. Yeah. Have her call in. I'd love to talk to her about it. That's fascinating, buddy. Does she feel it was a real thing, or does she feel like, did she have brain activity and she feels that it was pretty much a dream, or what? Am I a Buddhist? Not really, no. I am, I am certainly not a religious Buddhist. I used to really be into something called Shambhala, which is the sort of non-religious version of it. But I agree a lot with the tenets of Buddhism when it comes to things like meditation, being present, all that. Okay. You're not open to Jesus. You shit on Christians all the time and call our religion a fairy tale. Yeah, I think it's a fairy tale because have no evidence of it. If that, thus this, if I'm open to it in the sense that I understand you believe it, I'm inclined to believe that you are more scared or having a harder time dealing with the chaos of life, or simply don't want to take on the burden of the chaos and unknown that is life. And thus this bucket called religion brings you comfort. And then you sort of build a narrative around it, and you build up defenses, psychological defenses, so no one can tear it down because you need it. That to me feels more probable than the fact that I'm just ignoring Jesus. But hey, point me in a direction. Ember says it's so obvious you believe in God as much as I do. If you didn't believe in him, then you wouldn't spend as much time as you do thinking about him. I don't think about him, but I absolutely think about what is happening? What is this world? If that's the same to you as thinking about God, okay, absolutely. Then I guess I think about God all the time, but I don't think about God as a character called God or Jesus or any of these other guys. Keep it up, Jaffe. Thank you, BT Maverick, for 5 fucking months supporting this goddamn show. Always appreciate your opinions. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate the support and I appreciate the kind words. Okay. Do I believe in any form of higher power? I have no idea. I am agnostic. I don't know. I mean, higher power is a bit of a weird concept, but if somebody were to say science has pointed out that we are brains on a microchip, or we have proven that we're in a simulation, or we have proven that we are basically bacteria in the universe's body, and the universe is basically a massive person, and there are billions of people, big universes, right? I would go, okay. Just like if somebody proved that Jesus was real. Now, what I will admit to is I do think that we are wired, I think they've already proven this, that we are wired to have sort of a spiritual gene, right? What I don't know, obviously, is that an evolutionary thing because we needed that to basically evolve, because the chaos of life with the way our brains work versus like how a dog works that doesn't think about it was so much that the only people that survived were the ones that were able to kind of create this fantasy that allowed them to get out of the goddamn cave. Or is it because we are wired to have a connection with whatever created us? I don't know. But I'm not opposed to it. I just don't have any evidence of it. Stephen Hawking says, yes, your sister changed dramatically. She fucking hates Trump so bad it's insane. She became extremely political. 1,000% believes what she saw is true. She said to me, I know what life is now. I don't fear death. I hear a lot of people coming back from NDEs that say I'm no longer afraid. So yeah, but it is interesting. Okay. You know what else is interesting? Is, wait, if we found out everything's a simulation, says Biz, it would only push the big mystery back one step. We wouldn't be satisfied. We never will be satisfied. And that's great. But yeah, then we'd be like, who did it? Can we connect with it? Is it running intentionally, or did they leave it running and forget about us? What can we die? And when we die, do we just, what happens? So, you know, okay. Okay, let's move forward. So this weekend, there was a leak. And again, I'm not saying this is a real leak. What? Okay. Let me let the chat wrap this topic up. Maybe I'll timestamp this one so we know when we're getting into the God of War stuff. But you think too much and feel too less. The devil is logic while God is a feeling. So what? It's a Hallmark card. I'm sorry, but it's a Hallmark card. I am not. That's why I'm agnostic. I am not opposed to God. I am not opposed to. I don't like the God that's written about in the Bible. I think he sounds like a rubbish asshole. But I'm not opposed to the idea that someone perhaps created us consciously. Well, maybe. I'm not shut down to that, but I'm not going to just go with this woo-woo feeling shit. The idea that, oh, if I just felt more, I'll feel God. Sounds filthy. No, I don't think so. But again, I'm open to it. Mr. Boom Boom Pal, you goddamn right. Goddamn Black Eyed Peas right there. 1 gift membership. Thank you so much. ESP Reviews gets it. Thank you so much for that support, buddy. I appreciate it. Yeah, God is too pure for people to wrap their head around. Come on, man. I mean, you know what would be nice to talk to a religious person is somebody that comes to me without all of the horse shit, Hallmark card, bumper sticker logic crap. Come to me, because look, if God created people, yeah, I agree with that. If God is what we've been told, Jamie, he's a sadist and a genocidal maniac. He's an asshole, if that's the truth. I don't need to convince anyone. I agree, though, is telling people to not think is not how you convince them, right? But if God created us, then I assume he knows he created people like Alex and Ember's Arcade that believe in this stuff. And he created people like me who are like, sorry, the way my brain works is I need more than this, or I need something different than this. And instead of being like, you just have to have faith, I'm like, I'm not wired that way. That's God's problem, because I didn't wire myself. Matt says, I really love the duality of you being interested in psychedelics, but you think most things you don't understand is performative bullshit. No, you don't love that, because that's not what I'm doing. I'm literally telling you, if they do the DMTX experiment, which they're going to start on Wednesday, and none of the tests that they've created to determine if these entities are actual things versus just things these people are making up in their heads, I'll go, oh, mystery solved. Let's move on to the next one. I really don't have a dog in the fight. My only dog is a sense of truth. Well, yeah, but you're doing it right now. Ember says, I've been that person and challenged you on philosophy, not on Hallmark rhetoric, but you couldn't handle it, LMAO. Everything was going great until but you couldn't handle it. Me not agreeing with you is not me not handling it. It's that I don't think you argued your point well enough for my mind to go, ooh, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Okay. Is it a wild unity thing to know what Jaffe? What? It is a whole... I don't know what that means. My sister has videos about this she's going to share. I will post them in the Discord. I'd love to see them. Absolutely. Okay. I believe God says Inthos would be completely okay with you not believing. Of course he would, if he's real. That's why you have free will. Do you believe in signs from the universe or the law of attraction? Maybe. I certainly believe in where you put your attention, things will present themselves to you. Do I believe that that's because the law of attraction has manifested those things, or because my brain has focused in on, hey, I really want to be a great fine artist. Well, if I really want to be a great fine artist, my brain will start to tune into the things that will allow me to get that. Oh, okay, but maybe the brain was made that way, so the law of attraction is real in the sense that the brain was consciously designed to give you what you want. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. This is why I'm saying the only thing you can do is say, I don't know. Everything else is just you're lying to yourself and you're lying to other people, is what I would say. By the way, I see some of you guys saying, let's get on to games, you're going to have to understand. I didn't want to talk about this because I just want it to be what happens, but I'll tell you since it's part of the topic. I want to do Gabbin and Games more frequently. The reason I haven't been able to do Gabbin and Games, and I don't want to change the title, it'll become what it becomes, but the reason I haven't really been able to do it recently, as often as I want, is because I'm bored of 80% of the stuff most of these guys cover, right? So there is video game news I have, and I want to cover that, and we will cover that. And I'm playing more video games than I've ever played. But what I don't want to do is pretend to give a shit. And let me give you an example. Tay says, Jaffe, I'm a dumb woman that loves to listen to you babble about smart stuff. Take me out for coffee and teach me about the world. All right, if you're local, I won't take you out for coffee. I don't know you, but I'll meet you at a coffee shop. We'll talk about whatever. We're going to get to the Jeff Kaplan interview. That's one of the interesting things of Rathizzle. Absolutely. But yeah, if you go to, let's just see, and some of these guys are great. Like, I don't know, is it Luke Stevens? Like this guy and that other guy, what's his name? Reforged Gaming. These guys never miss. They are up every goddamn day at the goddamn crack of dawn, and they do not miss. And I have great admiration for those guys. Because that's a level of pretending to give a shit about this stuff. And maybe they're like me with other topics. I just here, let me bring it up for you. I just look at it and I go, are you shitting me? I couldn't talk about every day. Let's see what he talked about today. This is Reforge. Okay. So the PS5 Pro is finally Pro. PSSR 2.0 update. I would rather put a bullet in my brain pan than give a goddamn fuck about that. Marathon update. I don't know. What else? I'm just looking for marathon player count. Ghost of Yode Legends. Some of this shit I don't give a fuck about. I was like, I don't care. Not because I'm telling you I'm judging you if you care. I'm just saying that I want to do this show more often, and what that means is I'm going to talk about stuff that's going to be all over the place. And if you don't like that, I absolutely get that. I absolutely get why you would come here and say, I just want the games, baby. I get it. But that's not this anymore. It will be games. We're about to talk about God of War. We're going to talk about Jeff Kaplan's new game. We're going to talk about some game design theories. We're going to look at some trailers. But yeah, no, I'm fucking telling you, man. No, I'm not a Buddhist, as I've said. I think believing in the literal definition or the literal religion of Buddhism is just as silly as anything else. Okay. Luke Steven kind of comes off his face as fake says Nugget, but he is good at what he does. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, this is going to become more of a personality stream. It's going to become less about tuning in to get your game news, because I honestly couldn't give a shit about 80%. I couldn't give a shit about 80% of it. But I do give a shit about this. So over the weekend, yeah, look at this. Jaffe, have you seen the video NVIDIA release for DLSS5? That's what I mean. I don't give a... I love you, Chaos Controlled, and I appreciate you care about it. But I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. I will... Relax! Matt keeps saying, you're playing games, why don't you talk about what you're playing? I will when I get around to it. I'll get around to it. Come on, man. Good God. Relax a little bit, boys. Now look, there's a leak that comes out this weekend. I don't know if it's true. The guy who put the leak out doesn't know if it's true. But he said he was told. And when I looked at it, and I'm not going to spoil it, it sounded kind of true. It may not be. And you can go look it up yourself. The one thing, a couple things I'll share, though. One is they said he confirmed that the guy he talked to at Santa Monica said, yes, the God of War remakes are going to be 3 individual games. Okay. Makes sense. Stands to reason. They're being directed by Bruno. I always say Vasquez. That's not how you say his name. But he was the director, did a lot of animation stuff, head of animation, but he was also the director of a great God of War Ragnarok Valhalla. So I'm excited. I think that pretty much probably also puts to bed that these are not going to be fixed camera, because if you look at the Greek trilogy or the Greek stories that they redid for God of War Ragnarok Valhalla, that was all with the new camera over the shoulder, and it looked great, played great. So I think that if that is true, which it sounds true, that's pretty cool. I'm down with that. The stuff about Corey's game, if it ends up being true, I'm not going to spoil. But what I will tell you is it, at a very high level, because it was just giving some sort of, beats of the plot. At a very high level, I was like, that sounds about right. I think Corey's a really good writer. I think he's a good storyteller. And what I was hearing was like, yeah, okay. he's addressing with these rumors, if they're true, a lot of the things I would be concerned about, like, oh my God, I'm so tired of the Norse setting, or this or that or the other. So if you care about this stuff, I recommend, it's a rumor. It remains a rumor. And I hate the fact, because in a narrative-based game, you don't want those things spoiled. You really fucking don't want those things spoiled, because some of the things I read that were spoiled now, I'm like, oh, I bet Corey, if it's true, wanted that to be a, ooh, cool moment, right? Those days clearly are gone. I think it's a real tragedy that these fuckers who actually work at the studio are comfortable leaking it and ruining stuff, assuming it's true. But the leak does exist. Tyler says, I don't know why people don't think that with all the leak culture, it's prominent nowadays, that the developers don't just use them for promotion. I would, it builds hype. Yeah, or I would leak stuff that's not true to send them off this. I've lied before. I told people I wasn't making a Twisted Metal game when we were 3 years into production on the goddamn thing. But all I'm saying is, if you like your shit spoiled and this ends up being true, the takeaway is that, oh, all right, cool. Sounds pretty fucking cool. Apparently it's a really big game. According to this, Sony's really hyped on it. They think it's going to be bigger than Intergalactic. And again, take all this with a grain of salt. But Leaker says ESP need to be fired and sued. That would put a stop to it. Yeah, it would. But I don't think they're going to be able to know who it was. The only way you can do that, if you really suspect somebody's a leaker, and it's like it's one of these 10 people, you could really get into it and be like, I'm going to tell each one of these guys a different lie, and I'm going to go to my spreadsheet, and if I see a report that it turns out that Kratos loses both of his legs in the game and ends up getting mechanical legs made by Hephaestus, and that's nowhere near the game, but I only told that to Fred, we're going to have a problem with Fred. I would agree with that. Yeah, I think they should be fired. Absolutely. I think, I think it's terrible to leak this shit, but it's hard now. You're talking about people all over the goddamn world working on your game. They don't have the same allegiance. You're talking about people, in the thousands in different departments. Yeah, PK, right. He says, when you outsource to countries like India, your game's going to leak, right? No. Inthos, I didn't say Sony said the God of War trilogies are going to be bigger. What I said was this leak says that Corey's new game, which everybody knows has been leaked, if we assume it's true, to be the one about his wife, Faya, however you say it. That's the one that they're really like, oh my God, this thing is going to be like our game of this generation, not ours, but like Sony's. Like, this is their big play across all of their PlayStation 5s and PlayStation 5 Pros. So, and again, this is why people don't get it. People are like, oh, Jaffe doesn't like Corey. I like Corey fine. I don't know Corey that well, but I think he's extremely talented. I think he's taken God of War to places I could have never taken it. And when I read this leak, if it turns out to be true, like I said, I would say, oh yeah, that seems like Corey swinging for the fucking fences. So yeah, I think it's pretty fucking cool. Maple Syrup says, my dad had Empire Strikes Back spoiled for him. Things never change. Oh, I know. I fucking know. I didn't have that one spoiled, but I had Luke and Leia being brother and sister spoiled, which really wasn't, who cares, but yeah, it's from a leak. And again, if you want to find the leak, go look it up. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but that news broke this weekend. I want to talk about some game design theories. Your mother in the house. First, I will say that I don't even know if you could call it a rumor anymore. I was listening this morning to Colin's show when he was the guys over there are streaming Marathon right now. And he was saying that I guess you can people have been scraping the data and stuff. And it's a foregone conclusion that either Starfield is out tomorrow for PlayStation 5 or it's being announced. But I guess what they could have scraped is maybe the pre-order page. So maybe they announce it tomorrow. It doesn't mean that it's available. What are you guys talking about? You guys are fucking with me on the Luke and Leia shit, right? God, I hope so. But anyway, though, so apparently Starfield is out, or they're announcing it tomorrow. Look, I loved Starfield, and I'm excited there's going to be new content, they said, coming this year, that we will be hearing about it this week. I don't think Starfield is ever going to turn people that were haters into lovers of it. I definitely think that a lot of people weren't really haters. They were just bitching because it wasn't on PlayStation, and hopefully now people will give it more of a shot. But if you are even somewhat considering playing it, I would highly recommend, if you're new to it, and this is a fault of the game design, do not just get your ship and go. You will have mostly a miserable time. If you just like, the world, I can go anywhere I want in the universe, for the most part. Don't do that. If you really want to see what the game has to offer, stick to the main mission about 70 to 80% of the time. And I don't know if you'll love it or not, but you will see what it actually makes it, to me, special, and makes it the best narrative of a single player video game I've ever played. Beyond that, I don't know what to tell you, but I absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. Daxter, thank you for the big generous super chat. He says, I myself hate most modern games, but I just love hearing your views and are glad you are one of my favorite devs, voice actors, and so on. I don't do voice acting. That has a true way of talking and interacting with fans. Well, thank you, Daxter. I do appreciate that very much. Thank you kindly, sir. I found this pipe. I've had it for a while, but I didn't realize I have tobacco and it's a real pipe. I'm going to smoke it later today. Okay. I'm reading the chat. Hang on. Jaffe, what I hated about Starfield was that you lose stamina fast. Well, yeah, but you can upgrade your character. You can put, your points in different things. Yeah, people got pissed at me, Maple Syrup, when I said Starfield has the best single player narrative. To me, there's no right or wrong. Just like last night, if you didn't like one battle after another, that's not going to be your favorite movie of the year. But to me, it checked every box that I needed to be checked to hit that place of going at a narrative level. Is it the best single player game I've ever played? No. But is it the best narrative in a single player video game I've ever encountered? Absolutely. For me, yes. But that's probably not most people's take on it, but I don't care. Okay. All right. I want to talk about this other Xbox game coming to PlayStation. I don't think it's out yet, but I want to talk about this as it relates to game design, because this lesson, this weird thing is stuck with me. This is South of Midnight, and it is
Come to the stage, my dear.
Absolutely beautiful looking.
It's time for you to pay up.
I love the way it animates.
Your mother and
I don't love all the music,
you.
but I love the tone of it and the spirit of it. I love the orchestral music. Some of the actual
Come to the stage, my dear.
Lyrics are a little
Time
on the
for you
nose
to
and
pay up.
goofy, but I'm a big
Your
fan
mother and I will
of
be waiting
this
for you.
world. So much more than a lot of people. I just thought it was
Come
cool
to the
as fucking thing.
stage, my dear.
But I didn't
Time
finish
for you to pay up.
and I was playing it, and
Your mother
what
and
was
I will
really
be waiting
fascinating
for
at a
you.
design level is, you've got the little platforming, which is pretty simple.
Come
You've got
to the
combat,
stage,
which
my
isn't
dear.
anything special, but it's,
Time for
it's
you to
fine.
pay
It's
up.
engaging enough to get you moving
Your
along.
mother and I will be waiting
Oh, are you
for
guys
you.
doing audio? Oh, I'm sorry. Apologies. I didn't know there was audio. I'm sorry. Okay, let me start again. Okay. Sorry. I'm not wearing my headphones is why. I apologize. Okay. So I played this game. I absolutely love the art style. I loved the tone of it, the vibe of it. Some of the environments were amazing. The storytelling was really cool. I did not like the every boss has like an audio, like a song. And I thought some of that was a little goofy, like the lyrics. Like I love the idea of it, but I didn't think the lyrics were very good. It was a little on the nose. So, I'm hit or miss with this. But I was playing it. I was engaged with it. I was moving towards, possibly finishing it. And then I discovered that there is a setting in this game where you can turn off all the combat, except the boss fights. So what you can do is if you get to, an area where they say you're locked into this room or this field here, you have to kill all the enemies in order to advance, right? You can turn all that off. And I instantly lost interest in playing this video game. I was done. And I started thinking that doesn't make sense. Why would that be? Because the gameplay of the combat was not so great that I'm like, oh, I'm just playing this for the combat. It was perfunctory. It was fine, but it was forgettable. And the story and the world I really liked, but you would think that if I really loved or liked the story and the world, I wouldn't care about the combat, which wasn't all that great, going away. I'd be like, I don't care about that. Let me experience the story. And I haven't gotten my head around what that means. Like, does it mean that the story simply wasn't good enough? Does it mean that if you give the player any control in any kind of interactive experience and there is no challenge, no matter how good the story is, there's something about that alchemy of those things mixing together that's boring? And even if it was Sinners that I loved, and there's a similar kind of tone to both of these things, in terms of culturally and what stories they're telling, would I do the same for Sinners? Is it an issue of the storytelling, the quality of the story, or is it an issue of if it's presented as a game and you put a controller in the hand of someone, psychologically there are expectations that if they are not met, you absolutely lose interest in being in that space. I have no idea. I get what you're saying. Just make a movie instead. Maybe the story wasn't good enough to handle a straight linear non-interactive experience. But I'm curious about that. I'm curious what you think this is. Like Byte says, Last of Us without combat would lose so much. It would. Ask yourself if you could skip through every combat encounter in The Last of Us and just walk to the next area. And you could still collect stuff and explore, and that's what you can do here. There's a little platforming, but it's nothing challenging. There's a little exploration, but it's nothing that in depth. You're pretty much moving point to point, right? I wonder, I don't know. Like, I didn't expect to respond that way to this game, and I don't know why I did. And so I am curious, as this is coming back in to an extent into the zeitgeist, because it's coming out for PlayStation. I'm curious if you're watching this now or you're watching this in a video I put up after the fact, what do you think, what is that? Like, why, what caused that reaction in me? And if you have this game, play it without the combat for a little bit and see if it makes you go, fuck it, I don't want to play this anymore at all. Because I was totally turned off by this. Totally turned off by this when that happened, when I turned off the combat. It feels like a lack of faith in the game's story from the developers by pushing a skip combat option, says Maple Syrup, like it has an effect on the player's willing suspension of disbelief. I don't know if it was a lack of faith. Maybe it was that they felt their story was so good, they wanted people who weren't gamers to be able to experience it. But maybe it brings you to the position or to the question of if, like, how much of finishing something in video games is artificial, right? Like, if you finish a movie, if I get bored in a movie, I'll just not watch it. Some people will never turn off a movie once they start. But for me, if I'm bored, I'm not coming back to it. But in a game, I wonder, is it because you go through a combat situation that might take you 3 tries and you're on that high of, oh, I beat that thing and now I get this cutscene or now I get this revelation. And that may not be the world's best revelation, but it's good enough that it comes off as a reward to you for the combat you just completed. And then when you get to the next combat, you're like, I want to complete this for my reward. Like, is there this artificial thread that pulls people through games that we haven't really understood? And does this game, South of Midnight, when you can turn off the combat, maybe inadvertently shine a light on that? I don't know, but I'm very curious. It is not generic slop. Please stop using the word slop. You know what's generic slop? The word slop. Collecting things in The Last of Us is only there to support the combat. I mean, that's true. That's absolutely true. Yeah. The medium of gaming, says Still, is about interactivity. I mean, it doesn't mean that everything in a game has to be done through interactivity, but something has to keep the player's brain engaged. It could very well be that. It could be that when you come to this thing and they put a controller in your hand, it doesn't matter how good the non-interactive stuff is. If the interactive stuff isn't compelling, your brain is like, I wasn't primed for this. I didn't sit down yesterday to watch Sinners. I'm not going to sit down this week and watch one battle after another with the expectation that I came to Bandersnatch on Netflix with. Well, I didn't enjoy Bandersnatch because all I was doing was waiting for the next interactive moment. And so maybe what it really points to is, and I know a lot of you guys love them and that's great, but maybe what it points to is the idea that the best games really are system games. They're not games that try to be movies. And as much as those are easier to market, and a lot of people say they love them, and I'm sure you do, I'm not saying you're lying, but I think those two things together, the interactivity and the non-interactive parts of a game, somehow allow each one of those to be weaker than they would need to be if they weren't working together. A movie that was the South of Midnight movie probably would just be average. A game without the narrative and art style of South of Midnight would be crap because it's a very generic, dull game. But a game like Slay the Spire 2 is brilliant, is super fun at a pure systems level without any of the sort of narrative trappings. So I think it's interesting. Games are not paintings. Games are interactive, says Tyler. You can still totally appreciate the art, but you have to understand a game isn't the artful veneer. It's the game itself. A lot of people struggle with that. And I think Sony, for a while, maybe they're changing. It sounds like Druckmann's changing when you hear him talk about, even though I love the gameplay in Last of Us 2, but when you hear him talk about Intergalactic, that he definitely is putting more of an effort or opening his design valve to more sort of From Software style stuff. I avoid movie style games, says ESP. The stories are never worth it. I agree with that. I think the same thing about Expedition 33, says Maple. As much as I love the story, I don't think it would make a great movie. I agree. I stopped playing it. I played it. I enjoyed it for about 6 hours. I was like, okay, I'm good. I didn't need to play anymore. I have not finished Resident Evil 9. I'm assuming I will, given that I finish every Resident Evil game since the second remake or remake 2. I'm at the part where, I'm not going to spoil anything, but Leon is moving around a flooded area with a bunch of trucks in like a parking garage. That's where I'm at. I hate how gaming discourse, says MKNS, has turned volatile. Hardly see nuance in people's opinions. I think they exist. You just have to go to the right place. Hang on a sec. I think it exists for sure. It's just you're not going to get it on Twitter if that's what you mean. Am I going to play Pocopia? Probably, because I hear so much about it. It may be the thing that motivates me to pick up a Switch 2. But I don't have a Switch 2 yet. So, all right, before we get to the next thing, I want to run something else by you guys. But you guys are telling me to watch this video, I don't know, this DSS 5 or what the fuck are we talking about? If somebody can tell me where to go look for it, I'll pop it up real quick. But I'm not, I don't really care all that much about the graphics. Am I aiming for platinum trophy? God, no. No, I don't care. So what video, Anna G, what am I supposed to play? Also, Anna G, I want to show you, hang on, I'll be right back. You got Anna G, talk to people. I'll be right back. Come here. Come here. Up, 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 up. Come on. Up. Courage. Come on. Up. This dog. Come on, baby. Come see the people. Come here. Up. Jump up in the chair, you fucking weirdo. Come here. Come here. Oh, look. Look at the people. Look at all the people. What are you doing? What are you doing out there watching that? Oh, get your baby. Popoki. I'm going to play it. I'm going to play it. So somebody send me a link to that video if you want, and I'll watch that AI graphics thing you guys are talking about. Absolutely. Who's your baby? Who's your best baby ever in the world? Aces, but you're all yuck, yuck, yuck. All right, here we go. Here we go. Here's what I wanted to ask you, Anna G. So I got this in the mail, but I don't know what to do with it. Like, do we need to do like a unboxing? Do we need to make a video? Did they just say, we'll just send it to the guy, and if he likes this, let us know. I mean, what are we doing with it? But I appreciate it. I got it, but I don't know what to do with it. So hit me up. Maybe we'll open it on this stream. I don't know. But Anna G reached out and got... not really a sponsor because they're not paying us. That's not our sponsor. We do have a sponsor probably coming soon, though. I'm waiting to get that deal signed. But this is more kind of like a, hey, see if he likes it, and we'll see some. I don't know. I wanted to show you it came in. I didn't know what to do with it. Okay. Go over to IGN. Okay, so what do I type into the YouTube thing? What do I type? And I'll go over there. Hang on. You're saying there's a video. And I'm looking. They're not okay. DLSS5. Okay, hang on. It's coming. All right. All right, here we go. The official announcement over on, it's a minute long. Let's watch this. Let's see what the big deal is, you old knuckleheads. Okay, but I got to say, I don't know what I'm looking at. So what is this exactly? Is this a new graphics card that uses AI to take graphics that have already been done and create? I'm not entirely sure what I'm looking at. I mean, I think it looks great. There's no goddamn doubt. And clearly you can't help. I mean, that's why the video exists. You can't help but to be impressed by, oh, it's a jump in visual fidelity. So it's an AI filter. And what does the AI filter do? Does it just go in real time and say, okay, on a pixel by pixel basis, I'm going to do X, Y, Z? DLSS is the NVIDIA AI upscaler. It's generative AI over the base game. So can it can work? I mean, does it? I mean, that's kind of amazing. So in real time, how is that possible? Like, I understand, like, if you go through and it's pre-rendered, you could do it. But if I take this character and I walk her forward, every cycle that the game draws the woman, it has the time to upscale the graphics on a pixel base. I mean, what? Well, it artificially adds frames to increase resolution. Okay, so are you saying that this is what the assets actually look like if you had the best computer? Because this doesn't look like it's just lighting. This looks like you're getting more information, which I guess would be lighting, but it's not like lighting is what's causing her face to not have aspects in it, right? But whatever it is, I think it's great. I think it looks fantastic. Natasha says, so wait, it won't look the same each time. I think there's tons of room for error. I mean, I have to assume, one person says it's adding detail. Someone else says it's just lighting. Okay, well, when is this available? Like, I mean, I game on the most updated, I believe, on GeForce Now, the whatever it is, their new card. Is this out yet, or when do I get to play with this? Certainly, the video looks good. Yeah, I mean, you know, you can use it on your GeForce Now when available. Okay, yeah, cool. No, I mean, I cool. I mean, it looks great. In fall, it should be available. Okay. I mean, the thing about the graphics for me is, like I said, I'm playing Resident Evil 9 right now, and I'm playing it on the highest settings I can get. And I do appreciate that. And then at the same time, I'm playing, where did it go? Let's see. I'm playing, hang on. I'll play something like this, which I'm excited about, right? So I don't really care. I mean, I think neat graphics are great, but honestly, for me, and I don't know if it works this way for everyone, but for me, the graphics wear off relatively quickly. And I'm playing Resident Evil 9 right now, and it looks great, but I got over that in the first 10 minutes, and now I'm just into the game. And so it doesn't mean there aren't little moments here and there that I'm like, ooh, that looks really good, but I don't really pay much attention to it. You don't like what they did to Grace's face? Really? I thought it looked great. I thought it was really, really impressive. I think this is meaningfully better and more realistic, frankly. Is the frame rate smooth? I don't know. I have no idea. But anyway, all right, well, cool. I appreciate you sharing that. It's kind of cool. I wanted to ask you this too. This is another kind of game design mystery thing I've been messing around with in my head. But I struggled with this for the first time. Maple says it made Grace look like a totally different person. Yeah, but it makes her look like a real person. I mean, I get what you're saying, but when Grace looks like this, which honestly, I think she looks better than this. When I'm playing Grace right now, I think she looks better than this, but maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I am playing her in first person, but in the cutscenes, I'm playing her and I don't think she looks as simple as this, but if I had to choose between that and this, I think she's cool looking here. She looks more like a real person. The Crimson Desert review? No. Is there one out yet? I thought they were... I don't think there's an official review. Was there a leak? There are no official reviews out. Which one are you talking about? Oh, here we go. Here's let's go to Dreamcast guy. He says there's a one that's leaked early. Now, you know. Now, sometimes I will do thumbnails intentionally to make myself look stupid. And you know this guy's not a moron. He has a very popular fucking channel. But, man, I don't know if I would have the ego, if I'd be willing to kill my ego to such a degree that every one of his thumbnails is just so horrid. Intentionally, but let's see what the review is real quick. I'm not going to watch the whole thing. I just want to jump to that part.
A person played 50 hours of it so far, and they accidentally rambled for about 2 hours on a podcast that's now deleted, but somebody managed to take a bunch of notes of that 2 hours. And honestly, it sounds like this game is going to be very big, very good, but definitely not for everybody. Let's get into it. Hi, hope you're having a great day. If you big RPG that's clearly got like record-breaking crazy amounts of pre-orders and stuff, it's still being a bit odd. You know, the people currently playing it are saying it great. A lot of people that are currently reviewing it, they've actually had it for weeks. But I still kind of feel like just slightly, they're seemingly holding back, right? As much as they're showing trailers, oh, that was scrapped, so they have the how big it is, what we're going to be doing in it and stuff. But I want to know, how does it actually play? If I spend 70 days, I've heard a lot of people discussing that the biggest...
I'll just do it faster for you because, let's go. Hey, Aaron, good to see you, buddy. Here's what he says. Respected YouTuber, almost 1 million subs, shared his experience. It got taken down. It's not a narrative-focused game, not an RPG, not close to The Witcher or Kingdom Come. It's about moments and battles. Combat's incredible. Lots of player expression and depth. The player is not only able to use trees as slingshots, no handling, complex mechanics, not a Souls-like, but like a Souls game, you have to get used to the rhythm of the combat. It's a slow burn and steep learning curve for the first 8 hours. Okay. And that's what I've heard. That is absolutely what I've heard about it as well when people have talked about it. So cool. I'm probably going to get it. It looks great. I think a lot of it has to do with, I don't know, because I really there's so many games I want to finish, and I don't know. But I'm going to keep my eye out for it. I was immediately going to say, of course I'm going to get it. Of course I'm going to play it. But there's a lot of other shit I'm playing right now that if this is one of those games that's not a slam dunk, I might need to come to it when I have some time and I don't feel the pressure of these other games I haven't finished yet. But maybe. I don't know why most of his followers hate him, says Aaron. They will always be throwing shade. Yeah, there are people like that. I'm over on this the Lolcow network in the mornings, and there's this woman over there who's really popular and successful, Amber Lynn Reed. But she's popular kind of in the same way DSP is popular, right? They like to shit on her. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Carlos says, first 8 hours, I'm out. Well, I'd like to think it's fun even beyond that, but who knows? Okay, but I want to talk about this. Okay, so at a game design level, if I may. So this is, this person says, I don't hate Marathon. I just don't know what I'm playing for. I don't know what the point is of every vault item and faction rep gets reset every month. What is the end goal in this game? I feel like there's no purpose. Maybe that's the extraction shooter genre. I don't know. And I bring this up. The reason I'm interested in this is this kind of, we saw this starting with online, and we saw this starting when Modern Warfare came out and the RPG element started getting applied to shooters, which is sort of what is the meta, right? What is I don't mean meta like which characters everyone playing, but what is the game that sits on top of the game became a problem you had to address if you were making an online game. And it strikes me, I think back to Calling All Cars was a game I worked on, which was the first time that I ever really realized this was a problem, which is this was a game that had absolutely no, this game, other than just unlocking some things, had absolutely no meta, as I'm describing it. There was no reason to play at a, leveling up or unlocks or anything that had to do with keeping you stuck and keeping the game sticky. It worked as a game, and after 4 or 5 rounds, you moved on to something else, and ideally you came back to it. But it was a very powerful lesson of, because I wanted to believe that if the game was great enough, it didn't need those other things. Like at an intellectual exercise level, there is an intellectual exercise that says, can you design a video game that's so good, that's multiplayer, that without those things, you can still have a mega hit? And I think the challenge with this was that you can design a great game, but you're not going to get the playtime you need out of people to merit the budgets anymore, at least in a lot of cases. In this game, maybe, but and because like single player games drag you along with the artificial desire of, I want to see what happens, or I want the satisfaction of winning or beating it or whatever. These games, if you look at a card game, like if you look at Uno, which is one of my favorite card games, and it's the most popular card game in the world, is Uno. I mean, I don't think they include poker and blackjack, but like consumer games. That's a game that you play all the time, but you don't play constantly, right? But the daily active user or individual, duration per day of Uno is probably tragically low for video game companies. But it works because, it's priced as such, and you can play it over and over in the right scenarios. And that's what multiplayer games used to be. Some people push back on this comment in Twitter and were like, well, that's what LAN parties used to be. Well, yeah, but that's because you were sitting in the same room with people. That's like split screen, right? So what you got from those games was the social dynamic. But if you're going online without knowing the people, and it's not like a party game, and you know the people and you're trash talking, once the core of the game wears off, you do need that shit to bring you back in. And I think this game would have been a lot more. I mean, this game had a couple of big problems, but not the least of which is the fact that there was no real reason to want to keep playing other than, every couple of days, maybe, if you were playing it in your rotation. But it was weird. It was a very weird thing to struggle with. We struggled with it on Twisted Metal 2012 as well. The unlocks and reasons to keep you stuck there. But I don't know. I just wanted to bring this up because I thought it was interesting that, whatever you think of Marathon, somebody was saying the same thing. And a lot of the people's response was, oh, well, you should just play because it's fun. Like, play for fun, this Lena Rupert says. Who I follow her, she follows me. I don't know her beyond that. I don't know if you remember the LAN party days, but Marathon has the bones of those days. Play for fun. Everything else is extra. Yeah, but it just doesn't work that way. It really doesn't work that way without that, without the sort of the meta there to keep you engaged. I find that with almost any game I play that's online. I will say this though, before I move on, about calling all cars. This is one of my favorite design hacks. We had this level, we loved this level, but the camera was done in such a way, the train yard, that people kept understandably banging into the train tracks or into the train when you would be coming back over. Here it is. Let me see. It's right here, maybe. Hang on. Yeah, right here. Watch this. So here, you have to avoid the train. But in that case, we're like, oh shit, that's super frustrating. We ended up putting invisible ramps on the other side of the train. So if you ran into it, it would just allow you to jump right over it, which I know is not very sexy, But it's pretty cool. It was pretty cool when we solved that, and it was like, oh, thank God. Look at this is the review. Let me see. I think they gave us a great review, but still nobody bought this game.
Sessions are only a few minutes apart or whatever, so you can just sit in there, while your coffee's being made or whatever. Jump in, go through a session, capture some criminals, see how you do. And it's crazy enough that you can sit down for hours at a time. It's a fantastic party game, and it's far and away the best game on the PlayStation Network.
Sorry, I think they gave us like an 8 or a 9. And we thought we were going to have a big fucking game and it was going to be a big fucking hit. But nobody gave a shit. Nobody gave a shit. I didn't buy it because it came free with Core. Yeah. I hear you. You got to think about re-engagement and what's going to bring a player back in 3 months, says Inthos. Absolutely. You absolutely have to. Marathon says Byte constantly goes from 20 to 50K players. So whatever they're doing, it works. Yeah. It seems like a solid, a solid, decent hit. I don't think it's a mega hit. It's not Helldivers, Helldivers 2, but yeah, it seems like people are enjoying it. Alan Richardson, who plays Jack Reacher and is also in this new movie over on Netflix, War Machine or something that I hear is pretty good, tweeted this: next Lolly Lule Low, which I think is the stupidest fucking thing in the world. But apparently he's a pretty big Metal Gear fan. And, who knows? I think he's too big as well, Zandatsu, but, his star is rising. And so, I don't think Tom Holland was right for Nathan Drake, but the movie made enough to merit a sequel coming out. So, it wasn't because they were like, who's perfect for this is Tom Holland. I think it was that Tom Holland wanted to make the goddamn Uncharted movie, and that trumps everything else. And it did well. That's what got him the green light. Greetings, says Man Cave. Opinions on NVIDIA's April Fool's joke with DLSS 5. I don't know what the joke is. It's not April Fool's. So I think it looks good if it's real. It's not called War. Is this the thing on Netflix called War Machine? What's this thing called? You guys know what I'm talking about, right? What's his name? Alan Richardson. Yeah, it's called War Machine. It just came out. It's supposed to be really good. I haven't seen it yet either, but okay. All right. Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 70. I bet the audience score is higher. Let's see. No, actually a little lower, 68. Okay. All right, Anna says, the last thing I told Cheddar, which is this. If you could try the products before you decide to move with further sponsorship, so we can do whatever we want. Yeah, let's open this box. I'm still a little confused about what this is what I will say, because it says that it's THC, but you can have THC that's not like pot, right? I don't know much about drugs. I just like them. But anyway, we're going to open this from Cheddar, and let's see what's inside. I didn't expect to get such a big box, but Anna reached out to him and says we can do what we want with it. And again, this is not, we actually do have a sponsor for the show. We're just, crossing the T's and dotting the I's, but hopefully in the next days or week, it smells like pot, I'll tell you that. In the next days or week, Lord have mercy. I'll be talking to you about this new sponsor, which is I'm really excited by it. Good things come to those who wait, and it's not just like, oh, here's, Blue Chew, or here's nothing wrong with that, or here's BetterHelp. It's cool. I think you'll vibe with it. We'll get some good content out of it. Jaffe, have you heard of Project Shadowglass? I have. It's a thief-inspired indie game. Looks really cool. Yeah, I'll put it up real quick before we open this box. Project Shadowglass. It looks cool. I'm not a big stealth guy, so it's probably not for me. But hang on a minute. Let's watch together, shall we? Is there audio here? Yeah, I love the look as well, though.
What'll it be?
Raise your drinks, fellows.
All right, I don't know. This looks pretty fucking good. This looks pretty fucking good. Maybe I will play this. I didn't like Thief all that much, but this looks cool.
Stop right there!
I think that looks cool, man. I dig it. I dig it. Matt, if I have drug questions, you can answer. Okay, cool. Absolutely. Aaron says, in the future, do you think you can direct a new God of War? I mean, you never know, right? I mean, here's the way I would direct a new God of War. It would be if something significantly changes within the Sony management structure and they bring in someone from my past who's like an ally and says, you know what? I think Jaffe could do something cool with this. But I mean, what I have heard, if this leak is true from what Corey's doing, sounds pretty fucking good to me. I certainly don't think they need me at all. But you know, I'm not interested if the scenarios are right and whatnot. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me see if we want to go over some of this stuff. First, let's open this box up. Okay, here you go. Cheddar is what they're called. It's a big box of dope. It's a big box. Okay. Oh. All right. Whoo, Lord. All right. Here's their box. Cheddar with just lots of samplers. Now, I'll tell you what it is, because I don't know all that much about this stuff, other than I like to smoke it. Cheddar whole pre-rolls, blue cheese. And it says... it's exotic THC A-flower jelly core, 2 CT, 2 grams each. Now, what is that? Is that the same thing I get when I go to the dope store or the dispensary and they give me like a vape pen that has like, hang on, you know, that has like marijuana and shit in it and I get super fucking high? Is that what that is? I don't know. Here is cheddar black velvet exotic. And I mean this is weed, but is it weed like it'll get you high? Cuz I know there's the THC thing and then there's the component of it that is the more illegal part, right? Am I getting this right? But why would I just want this? What do I do with this? But it's black velvet and 1 ounce. I don't fucking know. Oh, you like the music? Let me turn it back on. Hang on. Let me know if it's not too loud so you can hear me. So when you're saying a full spectrum vape pen, is this a full spectrum vape pen or what is this? Or I don't know what any of this is. What do I do with this? Let's see. I got Strawberry Couch, another one of these pre-rolls right here. Thank you guys for sending it. I do appreciate it. I got Gouda Cheddar, Loda, 3.5 exotic THCA flower sativa strain. So what do you mean? Okay, so it'll get me high, but what's different? Like, why this versus, you know, something from...
what'll it be?
What are they called? Cake or that other place? What is this? Diamond infused. Ooh, diamond's good. UK cheese. THCA pre-rolled. Check that out. All right. I can put the buds in my pipe Whoo, good God. I'm going to call my kid, tell him to come smoke some of this shit with me. Look at that. Look at that. We're going to go smoke this shit on the goddamn outside. In the veranda. Okay, I'm going to keep opening it, then I want to ask some questions. Cheddar gummies. We got ourselves some gummies, boys. We got Blue Raz, 500 milligrams D8, 25 milligrams per gummy. Right there. Yeah, this is THCA. Educate me. What is that? And then they sent me this thing where I guess this is where you put the lines of cocaine or something, like in the movies. I don't know what this is. So educate me here. What is the difference if I don't have my vape pen with me, but if I go to Tory Holistics, which is where I usually buy my dope, or they deliver it to me, they'll send me, like, it's called cake and it's a little vape and you get high as a goddamn kite. Is this the exact same thing, or is there something about THCA that means something different? It's just less psychoactive, but still good. So educate me on that. What do you mean? So is this just to make you relax, but it's not actual dope? I'm in Texas and only certain types are legal. Boy, where you break down your ganja. What? Maybe Calvin wants to come over and smoke dope. Hang on. One sec.
Finest apples coin can buy.
What'll it be?
Raise your drinks, fellows.
This guy's wife says it's THCA natural flower, low THC content. When high heat is applied, it converts to THC. THCA is less potent but can be sold without the government. But why would I want it if it's not as strong as normal dope? Okay, well, I will have a gummy, or we can go outside and smoke it and come in and tell people how it is. But I'll wait for you. If you want to come over today, we can do it, or later. But let me know.
Stop right there!
I don't know anything about you smoking dope. No. Yeah, who cares? All right, let me know. You doing good? All right. I love you, bud. I'll see you soon. Bye. Okay, it can be just as strong. Okay, so what we're going to do is, thank you, Cheddar, for this. Cal and I are going to smoke some of it, and I'll let you know how I'm feeling. I don't want to take it right now because I have things to do this afternoon, unless Cal's going to come over and we're going to do a smoking stream. But yeah, let's see where it goes. Okay, but thank you for sending that. I appreciate it. Okay. I am thinking of CBD maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Jaffe says, Rocker Matt, have you played Rewind 99? you know what? I have played the demo of it, but I did not like it as much as, in fact, let me go to Steam real quick. There's Rewind 99 is you work at the last video store in the world or something, and it's kind of like a store simulator game, but it's about video stores, which I love the idea. But I don't like it. It has this big open world component. It's way more than I think it should be. But there is one called, let me check. So Rewind 99, Retro Rewind. I played that demo and I was absolutely addicted to it. That comes out tomorrow. Let me show you what we're talking about here. Okay, so this you may have seen on the stream. Let me turn down the volume. This I really, really enjoyed. I thought this was fantastic. It was so fun and so nostalgic, and you're basically running a mom and pop video store, right? But it's all within the video store, and then there's this guy who shows up on Tuesdays at the back and sells you porn videos, and you know, you can sell the area. There's the guy right there. And, you know, it's cool. It's fun. I like it a lot. But it's very contained, right? If you go over to, what's this other one? Retro, or is it Rewind 99? This one's out now. You can play the demo, but I found it to be too much. It's multiplayer. There's just a lot of shit going on. You've got this big open world, and maybe fundamentally that works really, really well, but I don't really have the interest and patience, and, you know, and I do like that their movies are more clearly based on real movies, whereas the other one is not, but so maybe I'll look into it a bit more. But I found the demo to be less about running the video store and more about what is this giant open world? So I'm not entirely sure what you do in this one, but it says very positive. So maybe I'll give it some more time. But I'm going to be super down for Rewind 99 or Retro, whatever the other one was called. So we'll see. More chores of the game, like the new Pokemon game. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what you do. I do sometimes, Natasha, stream on Twitch, but not terribly often. Most of the audience for me is over here, and it becomes difficult because sometimes I'll do members only chat, and members only chat I haven't totally figured out, you know, how to put all that together and blah, blah, blah over on Twitch and whatnot. Okay. So here's what we're going to do for the moment. I'm going to wrap this particular episode up. I probably will be back streaming later today. It's only 2 o'clock here in California. I'm going to get some lunch. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to consider smoking some dope. And I'll certainly guaranteed be back tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. California time for Locale Crypt, and something else on this channel. But I might be streaming back later today. How about some more Evil Dead if you're going to smoke? Maybe, Rocker Matt. I don't know if I watch something next, I'd rather watch a horror movie. I don't really want to watch Evil Dead right now. I'm kind of good. I'm all full up. So I don't mind watching some horror maybe if I stream again, but I'll let you know. But for now, I'm going to take a break. Thank you guys for watching. Members, thank you so much for supporting the show. If you are considering a membership, we are doing some stuff this week. I'll tell you more about it tonight or tomorrow. But Captain Loud Pack, by the way, I have not forgot the post office. My concern is if I mail this thing again, the same goddamn thing's going to happen, which is if I go down to the fucking post office, which I have to do anyway soon, I put the exact correct address in here before. And it got sent back to me. And when I asked you, you said it's the right address. So I want to make sure I don't just get into this loop of continually sending you this thing and nothing happens. So hit me up on Discord if you can give me a bet, or if you just like, no, try it again, please. And I'll try it one more time. But that's my concern. That's why I haven't sent it yet, because I'm not quite sure what's going to be different this time. But anyhow, yeah, we checked the address on the UPS website. I told him, I told Captain Loudpack, I said, this is the address. He said, yes, it should have gotten to me. That's the proper address. There's no reason it shouldn't have worked. But they returned to sender and said, attempted to, not known, unable to forward is what they said. So, oh, you took care of it. You just didn't have your name on the back of the mailbox. Oh, shit. Okay, then I'll do it. I got to go down there this week. I'll do it this week. All right, fellas. Meantime, I'll be back tomorrow. Might be back today, but I'll definitely be back tomorrow on Crypt and over here. Be safe. Members, thank you. I was going to say that we're going to be doing some member stuff later in the week. I'll tell you about it a little bit later. But it's a good time to consider membership at any tier. We'd love to have you. Thank you for the support. If you're already a member or super chatting, we sure do appreciate that. And we will see you very, very soon. Anna G, thank you so much for modding and getting us the dope. You old drug dealer. And be well, you guys. See you soon. Bye, everyone.